Hi everybody, this is Nancy with Weekday Summer Batch. I was going to do a really in-depth yet not too long thing where I recorded another object repository and then a drag and drop script, but it really got complicated, and I found a lot of places where mistakes can be made, and if you're not used to doing this 1,000 times, you can get really confused. So I thought I would break it down. So I'm going to break it down into a couple of different videos. I think I still want to go through drag and drop and adding checkpoints and output values, but I'm going to break it down a little bit because I came across some things that could have been very confusing. And when you're working with websites that you've not used before, or you're just not very accomplished at it, it can really screw you up. And I had to kind of fiddle around until I came up with something that would work for me. So let me show you what I mean, because I can't tell you about it, I just have to show you. Okay, I decided to go ahead and do a practice script with eBay.com doing drag and drop. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab things for the object repository real quick. Okay, no big deal. eBay.com. Okay, now we're on the first page of eBay.com. I'm going to go here. I'm going to open my object repository. And I'm going to start grabbing stuff. My object repository is empty at this time. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add this search field. We're going to call that one search. Next thing I'm going to do is click on this search button. And I'm going to call this to button. Now, before I can grab a third item, because I'm going to go search for something to do with elephants. I don't have anything else on this page I can click on, because I've already gotten the search field and the search button. Now I'm going to type in the word elephants, and then I'm going to click on search. And now I'm going to start narrowing down what type of elephant thing I want. So I'm going to tell eBay that I only want a used elephant thing. So I've got to come back over here and then add this use button to my object repository. And I'm going to say 3 item condition. Now, after I've selected it for the object repository, in real life I have to actually click on it, because I haven't selected it yet in real life. I only grabbed it for the object repository. Now I need to get something else for the object repository. So I'm going to tell it that I only want a ring. Grab this and choose a fashion ring, because everybody needs an elephant fashion ring. And that's going to be the 4th thing that I did. You're going to see why I'm doing all these numbers in a minute. Okay, I chose the rings for the object repository. Now in real life, I'm going to click on that to choose it on the page, and it's going to take me to this page. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to figure out what size ring I want, and I want a ring that will be a size 8. So for object repository, I'm going to select 8. And that is the 5th thing that I chose to do. Now, I have to go back here, click on that. And then what else am I going to choose? I'm going to say I want to choose the sterling silver. So I want to add that to the object repository, and that is the 6th thing I have chosen. Now in real life I have to go back and actually choose it. I just want you to understand the difference between grabbing something for the object repository and actually choosing it. And now I have these 7 items from which to choose. So I'm going to choose the sterling silver elephant ring. So let's grab that for object repository. And there. And that is the 7th thing I'm going to do. And I'm going to click on it. And that's enough. I'm done. Okay, so this is going to be what I'm going to build my script with. And remember, with the drag and drop method, we cannot add checkpoints through drag and drop. We'll have to do that through record and run, but let's do one thing at a time. First things first. So the first thing I want to do is I want to tell UFT to go ahead and open Internet Explorer and navigate to ebay.com when you first open. Okay, and then the reason I numbered these is because you can't always tell, because they're not naturally in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The numbers are all out of order here as to how I actually chose them. So the reason I chose to number them was so I could remember to drag them in correct order into my script. So I know that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so I picked everything out of my object repository that I need. Am I ready to run my script? No. Why? Because everywhere you see the word set, that requires some sort of input from me. I have to type something in there. Now I know this first set is very easy because it's an elephant. That's what I type. And here it says item condition. And then what am I supposed to put for item condition? Well, I don't know. Let's try, let me try seeing if I can find out in Object Spy what I'm supposed to put. So the condition I chose is used. So let's just go over here to Object Spy real quick. Object, here. I'm holding down the Control key until I get to where I want to go. And used. Now, looking at Object Spy,
Man, but ask somebody who's already upstairs.
I can't really tell what I'm supposed to type in here. There's nothing in here that tells me what I am supposed to write after the word set.
See, and I'm not walking all the way up there just to get somebody's cereal. You can do it.
Okay, so Object Spy obviously is not helping me much because I have to figure out what to type there, and I'm very confused, right? So what I did to solve this, because I have no idea what I'm supposed to type here, here, or here, because this is the item condition, and I'm supposed to put it set on. Am I supposed to type in used? This is the ring size. Am I supposed to put the number 8? This is the type of metal. Am I supposed to type in the word sterling? I don't know. That can be very, very confusing, and this really set me back when I was working on my homework thing because I didn't know what to type. I was using a different website, but you understand. So here's what I chose to do. I said I'm going to save this. That way, you know, I don't have to worry about losing it or messing it up. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to start a new test. And in this one, I'm going to do record and run, and I'm going to pick everything I just picked in my drag and drop. Why am I going to do that? You will see. And this might be confusing, but I want you to see what I'm doing and think about it. Okay, I cleared out my browser, and then I'm going to do a record and run. Okay. And then I told it I wanted a used elephant. And then I told it I wanted a fashion ring. And then I said I wanted size 8. And then I said I wanted sterling silver. And then I was going to do this one. So you just saw me do a record and run of the exact same things I did drag and drop before. And I'm going to stop it. Why did I do that? Because look, now it gave me the stuff I'm supposed to type in here. On. I don't have to type in a type of metal, I just have to type in on. I don't have to type in a ring size, I just have to type in on. Okay? So now I can kill that. I don't need it anymore. So I'm just going to open. That's not it. There we go. So here, now I know I just have to type on. And now I know I just have to type on. And now I know I just have to type on. Okay? So if you don't know what you're supposed to put after a set or a select, which requires you to type something in, then you can go ahead and do a record and run just to grab the information that you need. That's how I did it. I don't know if that's the only way to do it, but to me, I didn't see that Object Spy was helping me because it didn't tell me what to choose, but that's what I did. Is that correct? Is that incorrect? I don't know. But let's go ahead and close this, and then we're going to run it. Eventually. There we go. Alright, there we go. Expand that. And it shows everything ran okay. I'm not going to get any passes except for the systemutil.run. But that's because I don't have any checkpoints yet. That's the next thing we're going to do. But before you go on and we start talking about checkpoints, I want you just to understand why I did a record and run. That is because it will not always be obvious to you. It's very obvious what I had to put in after the search button because it's my search. And I knew I was searching for an elephant. Okay? But on these, under the item condition, they are buttons, and oftentimes it'll be like a true false or an on off, but not always. Okay, you can't always you won't always know that when you click that button that means that it's in the on position. Okay, there might be something else. You might have to type in a word there. So because I didn't know ahead of time, I did a really quick record and run to grab that information, so now I know that it wants me to type in the word on after these sets. Okay, I hope you understand that. Alright, now the next thing we have to do is add checkpoints, and I'm only going to do a couple here. I'm going to do a couple of checkpoints and one standard output value because I don't have that many elements here. When you're doing yours, you're going to have, two shared, you're going to have a merged object repository, so you're going to have quite a few more lines than I have. So what we have to do, it's very important to understand that you cannot do checkpoints using drag and drop. You have to do checkpoints using record and run. You're going to be doing them individually, meaning you'll go to where you need to go, you'll click on record and run, you'll grab a checkpoint, and then you'll stop the test. Otherwise, if you keep going and trying to grab 3 checkpoints without stopping the test after every one, you're going to have a lot of extra stuff on your page. So the first place I want to put a checkpoint is right here when I get to the web page, because I want to ensure that I actually did land on ebay.com. So first thing I'm going to do is go to ebay.com. Now, what is on this page that I can grab so that whoever's reviewing my work is sure that I'm in the right place? Well, how about this eBay logo? That sounds like a good thing to me. So what I need to do is go over here, and then I'm going to do a record and run. So record. Okay. I haven't done any actions yet. Action 1. And then I'm going to do standard checkpoint. And I'm going to grab this word here. That's it. I'm going to give it a 5-second timeout. Or, yes, timeout. And then I'm going to stop the test. So now, in the exact correct point, which is when I landed on ebay.com and before I do my search, I have a checkpoint to ensure that, yes, I am on the right web page. And this is why I tell everybody again and again and again, before you put that second or third checkpoint in, go ahead and run this to make sure that it runs correctly. Because if for some reason you have the checkpoint in the wrong place, this is the only checkpoint here. If it fails at this checkpoint, that's the only one that you got to go back and fix. But if you try and put in all 3 checkpoints at once and then run it and one of your checkpoints fails, it will be harder for you to figure out which one failed. It takes 15 seconds for the test to run, and it's well worth the investment of time, and it will save you frustration trying to figure out where you went wrong. Always build on your success. Create that shared object repository, run it to make sure it works. Create that second object repository, run it to make sure it works. Merge the object repository, make sure it works. Create a drag and drop script before you put checkpoints in it with that merged object repository, run it to make sure it works. Add 1 checkpoint, run it to make sure it works. I know that sounds really tedious, but I was working with a couple of my classmates today, and they had gotten 2 shared object repositories done. They'd done the merge, and then nothing was working. So they had to abandon all that work they'd done before. Build on your successes. Don't go on to step 2 unless you know step 1 has worked. And look, we have our checkpoint here. So we should have 2 passes because we have that systemutil.run, which always gets a pass or fail, and then the single checkpoint that I put in, which passed. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with that checkpoint. For our homework, you need to put in 2 more. Let me see if I can find 2 more checkpoints. All right, now you have to be in the right place to set your checkpoint. So I want to be, see, elephant and click. I want to make sure that I am on the right page when I get here, which is elephants, the second page. So I want to make sure that after I click on the button and it takes me to the elephants page, I want to ensure that that is actually where I am. So I'm going to make a checkpoint right there. So here's what I have to do. I'm going to go to ebay.com. I'm going to type in elephants. Elephant. Alright, and now I'm on the next page. I need to put a checkpoint in here. What am I going to grab as my checkpoint to let the world know that I'm on the correct page? How about the word elephant right here? That is super simple and super accurate. So, once again, I'm going to record. Then I'm going to go over here to eBay, and I'm going to grab a checkpoint, standard checkpoint, and I'm going to click on that word elephant. Got it? Do a 5-second timeout. Okay. Stop the test. Because if you click on anything else, then you're going to get more stuff stuck into your script that you do not want. I have 2 checkpoints now. I'm going to run this to make sure that they both work. I've tested the first one. This will now be testing the second one. Alrighty. And my second checkpoint has a green check mark next to it. Don't know why that thing is so small all the time. I have to drag it open. I'll figure it out later. And there we go. 3 things passed. What is it? The system util, the first checkpoint, and the second checkpoint. Okay? So if I wanted to do one more checkpoint, then I want to make sure I got to Elephants in Fashion Rings page. So once again, before you set your checkpoint, you have to take yourself to the correct place on your script. Okay, so I want to put my checkpoint in right here. Now if I accidentally left my cursor up here and I put a checkpoint in there, let's do that. So I accidentally forgot to move my cursor. And eBay.com, elephant. Now that's the second page. And then let's say I want to go to fashion rings. Alright, now how can I tell the world that I'm on the right page? Well, I'm over here, I can grab the word rings. So I'm going to grab a checkpoint for the word rings. Oopsie, I forgot I'm in the wrong place, so I'm just going to go and record. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to choose a standard checkpoint, and I'm going to click on the word rings. And I'm going to stop the test. Okay, is this going to work? It's going to do a checkpoint when I land on eBay.com. And then it's going to do a checkpoint and say, are you on the rings page? And it's going to say, well, no, you're not on the rings page, you're on the ebay.com page. And it's going to fail because I accidentally put my cursor in the wrong place and my checkpoint in the wrong place. That's no big deal. All you do is you highlight it, cut, and paste. Now I have my checkpoint in the right place. And there's no particular reason I'm setting everything off like this and leaving extra lines just to make it look, because I'm setting the checkpoint separate just so you can see it, but you don't have to have these spaces in between. Okay, so I now have 1, 2, 3 checkpoints. And once again, being the thorough person that I am, because remember, the people who were working on this earlier, they had literally spent an entire day building their object repository, building the shared repository, merging the shared repositories, creating a drag and drop, and then it did not work for them. So investing 30 minutes now to save you 4 hours is definitely a worthwhile investment in time. So check your checkpoints individually and build on success. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, just like when I tell you all to buy a wireless mouse, but if it works, then do it. Because when you take the time, you get good results. And I am no maven. I have no background in IT. I did not take this course before. You guys have the capability to do exactly what I am doing if you are methodical. Okay, so I had 4 passed. Okay? 4 passed the first time. Now this is not the first time for me. I worked on it on Friday and made a lot of mistakes, and then I did the second half of the homework on Saturday, made a lot of mistakes. By the time I get to recording it, I've done it maybe 5 or 6 times, so it seems a lot smoother than it is when I did it like for myself. So don't think I'm sitting here and doing everything perfectly the first time around. I've made recordings and thrown them out. I've done homework, practiced it, tossed it out, changed websites a couple of times, all that stuff. But now, because I've done it enough, you can see I'm a lot smoother than, you know, than I was on Friday. If you'd seen how I was fumbling around on Friday. Like I said, you guys, we are all at the same level. None of us is, you know, and some of you guys are farther than I am because you do have a background in IT. So we are done with our checkpoints. The only thing I have to do now is my output value. Now my output value, I haven't done it since I worked on it Friday, so I'm kind of forgetting what I did. So let me see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go back to ebay.com. And output values mean you've got to grab something that you have typed in. Like, remember on Edmunds.com, what are some of the output values that we had? We had the $450 monthly payment. We had to update the zip code. We had to type in a zip code. We had to put in the trade-in amount. We had to put in the how much do you owe on your thing, and how much are you going to use for your down payment. Those are all output values, things that you can grab as output values. Here I don't have that much, but elephant's going to be one of them. So I'm going to go over here, and once again click on record, and I'm going to go over here, click on standard output value, click on elephant, boom. And now here's the difference. You don't just grab a checkpoint and go.
Message is received from Abdulhamid Shihada.
You have to choose which value you want it to take note of. I want it to take note of the word elephant here, and then stop the test. Notice I'm stopping the test after every single time I add something. Okay, so I have checkpoint, I have output value, then I have checkpoint, and done. We had to do 2 output values. Let's go ahead and test and see if this output value works first. So I'm not as confident on output values as I am on the checkpoints. I always forget. So we'll see if I got it right. Well, that's not good. It's not doing anything. There we go. It always scares me whenever it runs smoothly and then all of a sudden it stops moving, and I think, oh my God, it's going to fail. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Almost there. And you'll notice I have not been clearing my browser and my cookies and everything, since I'm not doing anything like logging in, which would require you to log out and all sorts of mess. I'm just letting it see. I'm seeing how it goes, and so far it seems to be doing okay. Okay. Let's go over here, and looks like our output value, wherever it is, worked. Now notice it doesn't show passed on that output value. It will not. You only get your pass fail on the checkpoints. But it's still in there. My output value for elephant is in there somewhere. Output right here where it says NKW on my output. The captured value is elephant, and that's fine. Now when we're testing, where we're the tester testing the website, you know, maybe we want to capture different values. Maybe we want to do elephants and lions and tigers and bears. But here our output value is elephant, and it passed. So we're going to do one more output value. You know what? I don't have any other output values because I don't have anything else that I typed in. So make sure, and because, you know, I didn't make a really big object repository. If I were doing this for real, then, you know, I would add to watch list, and I would type in a name, and I would come over here, and I'd have a lot more information from which to find an output value. But I'm lazy, and I don't want this video to be like 12 hours long. So I'm just going to do the one output value. So that's it. I am done, right? I ran it, I tested it, I made sure it works. You might want to do it like 2 or 3 times just to make sure it's okay and you did it. Okay, so after you've done this, you're going to want to go ahead and do a zip file and attach it to your email just like we did last week. So when you're done here, make sure, just want to make sure there's nothing else that I'm forgetting. When you are done here, you're going to do File, Export Test, and it says, oh, you have to save this. Do you want to save it? Absolutely, I want to save it. So the source path does not change. Where do I want to save it to? Me personally, I want to save it to my desktop. Where's my desktop? There we go. I want to save it to my desktop because it's easy for me to find to attach. This test thingy eBay, and open, and okay. So now I'm going to go here, and there it is. So you're going to attach that to your email, homework@peopleandtech.com. You copy your user number and name from the forum and paste it into the subject line to make sure it filters correctly so they find it so they can grade it. And there you go. That's it. So what you're going to attach to your homework for the first half, you have to do a screenshot of the merged object repository properties, and then you have to answer 2 questions on like why would we use the shared repository, and the other question, and then you need this. And then for the second half, you have the program you're going to write, the script you're going to write with descriptive programming, and then 2 questions. So that's what you're going to attach to your email. Okay, so what is in here that's new? The only thing I did different that Jay didn't cover was when I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to type here after the word set, I did a quick record and run to capture that information. Save myself a whole lot of time. Because I noticed there was one where I clicked on select. Earlier when I was fiddling around with it, I chose, only deliver to you, only sell within the United States, and it said select. And then when you clicked on it and you did the record and run, it said, well, you're supposed to put in the number 12 there and the pound sign. And I'm like, because it's some code. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't done the record and run to capture that. So if you're not sure what you're supposed to type somewhere, do a record and run, grab that information and use it. That's called, solving a problem. The other thing, always, always, always make sure your zoom is 100%. Otherwise, when you click here, Google's going to think you're clicking over here and you're not going to capture the correct information. That's what happens to it. You put your mouse one place, but because the page is zoomed, say bigger, it thinks you're over here instead. And obviously, if you're trying to capture this and it thinks you're trying to capture this, it's very confusing. So watch out for that 100%, okay? And especially if you have any type of login information or information that is saved as a cookie, it's always good to clear your cookies before you go. And then you close this. And remember that when you are running your thing on your record and run settings, you don't want to have this, open the following address and record and run sessions bands, along with this. It's either or. So you can record on any open browser, and then you tell it, use Internet Explorer to go to ebay.com. Okay, your checkpoints, they get passed or failed. Your standard output values do not get passed or failed. But if you do it wrong, then it will mess up your run. I think that's it. The only thing is build on your success. Test each stage of what you're building. That way, as you string it together, you won't have any surprises. If one thing fails, you'll be able to figure out what that one thing is. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because I got to go check on the kiddos. And I hope you guys have a lovely evening. If you need anything, if you need me to review anything, please feel free to text me, call me, or send me an email. Have a lovely evening.